So before that, we were just talking. So you're in Cornwall. You've left school. You've done a bit of typing.
Shorthand and typing.
Shorthand and typing. Very important.
And you were hanging out in the village pub.
Hanging out in the village pub.
Not at 16, I hope.
Of course not. I was of legal age, obviously. And obviously you get to know all the villagers, everyone's in the pub, so I love a village pub. And there was a lady called Pat Savage, and she worked at our regional local TV station, which was, in those days, Westwood Television.
Yes.
It's had many guises, Westwood Television, and we were chatting, and she's like, what are you going to do? And I was talking about, I don't know, my mum, you know, they're all getting a bit fed up with me because I don't know what I want to do. And she said, you know what, you should try and get a job at Westwood Television. It's really great
Were
fun.
you speaking like this at the time?
I was probably speaking a little bit like that at the time because, you know, I'd come from good girls' grammar school, girls' grammar school in
thought
London.
she'd make a marvellous television.
Well, I don't even think she thought that. I don't know what she thought. I don't know what she thought. But she, if it wasn't for her, I probably wouldn't be sitting here. And, you know, you said about sliding doors moments. And she said, I'm going to see if I can get you a meeting with the head of personnel. I mean, this would never happen now. Which she did. It's a man called Crispin. I'm sorry, Crispin, if you're watching this, I can't remember your surname, which is terrible, because he was so nice. And I just went in and had a chat with him.
Did you wear a very prim and proper outfit?
Did I?
What was your interview outfit?
I can't remember. It was I can't remember. I would have worn something. My mum would have made sure.
You looked
smart,
respectable.
Respectable, yeah. And so I went and just had a chat with him, told him what I was doing, and he said, keep doing what you're doing. So I was kind of like 6 months into this 9-month shorthand and typing course. And he said, because, you know, shorthand and typing can get you in here. He said, come back to me when you've passed your exams. And then I used to phone him up, like, every fortnight. Hello, Crispin. Hello, Crispin. It's Ruth Langsford. And I say, have you got any jobs? So I kept in touch. He'd go, not this week, Ruth. How's the course going? I go, yes, you know. Anyway, I passed my shorthand and typing quite well, as it happens. And he still didn't have any jobs. And I got a job working in the Civic Centre in Plymouth in the education department, just kind of temping. It was basically really a typing pool, and a lot of the women there were a bit older than me, you know, and it was fine, but for a young woman, I
didn't feel like it was your
didn't feel like
vocation.
It was my vocation.
Right, who gave you a break in the end?
So
How
then
did you get that
did.
very respectable foot in the door?
Well, he then phoned me one day, or contacted me and said, we've got a job's come up, I think you'd be great for it as a transmission logist. Well, he might have, I don't know, it might have been speaking another language.
So basically you were in the back room.
Well, yeah, I didn't know what it was.
At that stage, did you want to be on camera?
No, genuinely hadn't crossed my mind. So this was not me going, oh, I'll get in there and then I'll get on the TV and be a star. And actually, the first job, I worked in the control room, and I honestly swear, Janet, I walked in there and it was like, I love this place. I need to be in this place. Monitors, people going, stand by, Telesini, coming to you in 5, 4, 3, and 6 seconds to you, lights going off, you know, TV monitors. And it was like being on the Starship Enterprise. And at that moment, I was just like, I want to be here. Nothing to do with being on the TV.
So you were at the bottom of the pecking order.
Very much.
Logging the shots, doing very much like clerical assistant.
Yes.
How did your lucky break happen?
Because I worked in that control room alongside, there was a glass window and the continuity presenters, and in those days it was all in vision.
Wow.
So it's like, hello, good evening, everything was in vision. And my job was giving them timings. So I kind of saw I knew how it all worked. And then my boss, David Sunderland, who's no longer with us, but he's very much responsible for this journey as well, called me up on a Friday afternoon. And I remember taking my notepad because I thought he'd want me to do something, you know. Yeah. So I came up being organised with my notepad. And he said, listen, we need to get a holiday cover continuity presenter. He said, no, you know, not full-time, but somebody that can just step in if someone's sick. So I was like this, going, yes, yes. And I thought he was going to say, so can you type up an advert and we'll put it in, you know, the Stage magazine? And he said, and I wondered if you fancied an audition. And literally I was like, sorry? Me?
How old were you then?
Sorry,
Ruth,
four of those.
Ruth, how old were you?
I was about 19, 20 by then, I think.
Yes.
I'm really bad with dates, by the way. If this was Eamonn, he could tell you what day and what
No,
pants I was
so
wearing.
you did your audition and you landed the job.
Yeah. I remember phoning my dad and saying, Dad, guess what? From a phone box.
Oh,
and
yes.
I said, I don't know, Dad, I don't know. And he went, darling, do it. He said, do it. He said, look, if you're rubbish, it'll be embarrassing for a couple of days.
What was your pay?
Oh, it was good.
What was your pay?
It was about 5,500, which was good. Oh, look at me.
Is that you doing continuity now?
Yeah. I'm not sure that one
hair.
is. I don't know what.
You look
Look
so
at the hair. I had a perm.
glamorous.
That's me doing the news.
Is that curly hair your natural hair?
No, that was an absolute perm. Do you remember perms? It was really tight perm as well.
Yes.
But you know, I can actually remember there's clothes. I remember.
Yeah.
I remember that studio. I remember that sofa, little sofa we used to sit
But
on.
Ruth, next someone comes into your life called Gus.
Gus Honeybun.
Who is Gus
Right, so
Honeybun for us people that didn't live
is
in
Gus
the West
Honeybun?
Country?
Who is Gus Honeybun? There were people in the West Country now, Janet, who are literally jaws have dropped.
You shared the screen with a puppet.
And actually, I was Gus's auntie before I was on the screen, so I used to look after Gus Honeybun. I used to take him to open fates and sign autographs.
Did you have to
on his
groom him and
behalf.
keep him looking all
Yes,
fresh?
he had his own basket. I loved Gus. And then, once I got my job on TV, Gus Honeybun basically read all the... It was a birthday slot, so I read the birthdays, and people would ask for... Well, I've shown you my phone today. How many messages have I had?
About Gus
I hope you're
Honeybun.
going to show Gus Honeybun. You read my birthday on Gus Honeybun.
So that was
So
your warm-up.
you were well in there, and then the station closed.
Franchise shake-up, 1992, Janet, I think you remember. And we lost the franchise and we were all in total shock. That is my dear departed friend, the late, great Ian Sterling. He was a great help to me when I was learning the job.
You and your black lace.
Look at her, another hairstyle, another year, another hair. You were going through the hairdressing manual.
Yeah.
So then you went freelance.
You had to. You know, one of those, like, no choice. You know, the station closed and I went freelance and my first job was on Countryfile. I picked up some shifts on Countryfile and I remember after a couple of months, I said to my friend, oh, here's me on Countryfile.
I'm sure it'll
Look
be
at that
a
lovely
very
big jumper.
You were always somewhere.
So you basically went where they sent you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was still living down in the West Country in Plymouth, and then they'd say, right, we want you to go to Yorkshire and go to this farm and do this piece.
Now, isn't that where Eamonn first spotted you?
The very first time he actually physically laid eyes on me, he was at home on a Sunday morning watching Countryfile, and he'll tell you the story, this woman popped up and I was doing a piece to camera on the back of a boat, and as he knows me now, I get terribly seasick, but I needed the money, so I was like, yeah, I'll go on a boat, yeah, I'll do that. And I'm bobbing up and down on a boat. And when I met him, and it was probably a couple of years later, he said something, and I said, oh, I'm doing some work for Countryfile, and he went, did you do a piece from Rathlin Island recently? And I went, yeah. And he went, were you on the back of a boat in a red jacket? And I was like, yes, that was me. So he spotted me.
Brenda?
Well, that was the question I was going to ask, because I love watching you and Eamonn on This Morning. I love the banter and everything. It's like, how hard is that to... Well, it must be quite easy because you're obviously married, but those moments that you have on the screen, are there any moments where you just feel like fucking him over the edge?
Oh, yeah. All the time. All the time. And all the time. And actually, what's funny, Brenda, when I was talking earlier about, you know, sitting in that control room, and that's where I ended up working very quickly because I was determined to get into that control room because I loved it. We had all the monitors. You were monitoring all the different regional stations and things, and we had what we used to call the dirty feed. So it was a feed from the BBC. And Eamonn at that time, I'm pointing like it's up there. It's there. I can remember where it was. Eamonn was doing Open Air, which was a live show. You probably remember it, Janet. They talked about the last night's telly, and he was gorgeous, and I didn't even have the sound, but I remember always glancing up and thinking, he's hot, who's that?
Well, it's a bit like Donny Osmond.
Now, what happened on your first date?
Well, Eamonn will tell everybody, because he loves this story, that he picked me up on a street corner. So when people say, how did you meet? Straight away, he goes, I picked her up on a street corner, which actually is true. We had a friend in common, and I was staying with her, and we'd been invited to a party. I'd never met Eamonn. And she suddenly said, oh, yeah, Eamonn's picking us up. And I was like, Eamonn Holmes? And she went, yeah, actually, go out, because he doesn't know, he's not coming in, he's just picking us up and I need to lock up and he doesn't know where the house is. So I went, oh, OK. And I literally was standing on a street corner in Wimbledon and he came along and he tells the story and went, now, where do you find a girl like that? And then he realised I was the friend.
And the rest, as they say, is history. Does he remind you a bit of your dad?
Yeah,
I mean,
a lot.
Yeah.
He reminds me a lot of my dad.
Yeah.
You know, people often say you're looking for your father. So he's you know, dogmatic sometimes like my dad. You know, I kind of that's why I spar with him, because I used to spar with my dad. But also he's very loving.
Protective.
Very protective, very cuddly, you know. So he's very like my dad and very, you know, if he's in your team, he's in your team, but don't cross him.
Oh.
That would be my
Who
dad.
would you say wears the trousers in your house, Ruth?
Equal, Brenda. Obviously me, really. No, it's equal. It's equal in different ways, you know, I think. And I hate when people say, like, we share everything equally. I think, well, we don't. You know, I never wash my car. I never put fluid in the car. You know, I
What
put the
doesn't
bin.
Eamonn do?
Eamonn doesn't really tidy up the kitchen much.
Does he cook?
Doesn't cook. I cook, and I love cooking. I don't want him in my kitchen, actually.
No.
Oh.
I'm happy with that.
Well, it's been brilliant learning all about your
Yeah.
misspent youth.
My
Your time down the pub,
I did all right
smoking
then.
fags,
Yeah.
failing your O-levels. Who thought? Who
did
knew
all right.
that Ruth Langsford had this other side?
I did all right. And Pat Savage, if you're watching, thank you.
Yeah.
So I'm here because of you, meeting you in the pub.